Hi everyone, so today's book is Hyperfocus, How to Work Less and Achieve More by Chris Bailey. So this is probably the first video that you're going to see me absolutely geek out on. I loved this book. The productivity nerd in me is so excited. It was just full of like so many really practical tips, things that I just want to put in practice straight away. I don't think like a 5-10 minute video from me is going to kind of do it justice. Honestly, it was really, really awesome. Apart from kind of the practical tips in here, there was also really like new ways of thinking that I honestly hadn't even considered before. So I'm a productive person for sure, but I do really struggle with my attention. I'm often kind of running at 1,000,000 miles an hour. I've got a million things that I'm thinking about. I'm jumping from one task to another, and honestly, it's just not productive at all. I'm always deflated at the end of the day when I haven't achieved my often overly ambitious to-do list. Honestly, I need help, and this book brings it. So Chris Bailey talks about two types of focus that we can use. The first is hyperfocus, and the second is scatter focus. Both are really interesting concepts. Honestly, I'm so excited to tell you about them. So let's talk about hyperfocus. The goal is to spend your time deliberate and with intention. So there are 4 stages to hyperfocus. The first is about setting an intention. The second is removing distractions. The third is about focusing on your intention. And the fourth is about continually bringing your focus back to that intention. First up, you need to set an intention ahead of time. All of our to-do lists are absolutely massive. So I know it can be quite hard to figure out what you need to focus on. What's going to be the thing that you hyper focus on. So Chris Bailey has actually got like a 4-quadrant chart that you can fill in that helps you realize which are the most important tasks that you need to focus on. So the 4 quadrants are productive and unproductive, and attractive versus unattractive. I'll link below to an example of a completed quadrant so you can see the types of things that fit into each box. Allow only a meaningful task to take up your full attention. Save hyper-focus for complex tasks, not habitual tasks. Get really, really specific about your intention. So if your intention is to exercise in the morning, to get specific, you would say 5 a.m. I am going to run 5 kilometers. Get, again, really specific about that intention. So one thing I've already started to put into practice is his rule of 3, listing 3 things that you want to achieve by the end of the day. This helps you like really prioritize and focus on the things that need to be done. You can have a list of 3 work ones and 3 personal ones as well. By choosing 3 things, you only focus on what's really important. Some days you might not even have 3 things on there, especially if you've got a day that's packed with meetings. You might be at a conference, and you might just not have the time to physically do 3 things. The other thing is that the 3 things can be bigger or smaller depending on how demanding your day is. So you know, if you've got like a bit more of an open day, less meetings, then your 3 things might be meatier than versus a day when, you know, you're jam-packed, you can't really kind of achieve much else. The next step for hyperfocus is to remove as many internal and external distractions as possible. Now this was a long chapter. This was a long chapter, really interesting, but it does make you realize how many like internal and external distractions we're actually facing every day. So one of the first things to do is to make sure you schedule time to hyper focus. I do this anyway, like my Google Calendar is kind of blocked out in different colors, like when I've got working time, shooting time, editing, childcare, time with my family. My problem is I don't always stick to it, but I think it's really important once you've set that intention at the start of the day to make sure that you're also scheduling the time for that hyper-focus session. So it's important to identify the distractions that you're facing, the ones that you have control over and the ones that you don't have control over. So in the book, Chris Bailey's got another 4-quadrant thing for you to fill in to help you identify the distractions you're facing. So which distractions are annoying and fun, and which ones you have control or no control over. Distractions that are fun but you have no control over, like spontaneous team lunches, after work drinks, even like family members giving you a quick call out of the blue. Don't fret too much about any of those distractions that you can't control. Actually, maybe just kind of relax, let yourself enjoy them, don't get too stressed, and then come back to your focus once they're over. One of the best pieces of advice in this book was around creating distraction-free mode, so you can try to tame the distractions while you hyperfocus. So one of the things that you can do is disable all your notifications on your phone. This is actually something that I did. I didn't disable all of them, but the ones that were not important, and already I've kind of seen a decrease in my distractions. So next up is use a site blocker. So I actually did this a few months ago with, I'm ashamed to admit this, but with the Daily Mail. I just kept finding that, like, whenever I was a little bit distracted or a little bit bored while working, I'd just hop on the Daily Mail, read all the celebrity gossip, even though I absolutely hate it and none of it's true. And yeah, I feel really sorry for the people that it's all written about. So anyway, I put that in, and I honestly haven't used it in months. Haven't been to the site in months. I feel so much better for it. My mental health is definitely better for it. Close all your windows. I am terrible for this. I will literally have like 25 windows open on my browser at any one time, and it's stuff that I've always kind of got the intention to read and then never ever do, never come back to it. So yeah, that's a good one. So close your apps, close your email, computers or your devices on airplane mode. Turn Wi-Fi off if it's not needed. Use noise cancelling headphones. Make a plan for how to reduce your distractions ahead of time. Change location. And this is a big one for me actually. I get quite distracted at home, mainly by the fridge. But I find that I can be a lot more productive when working in cafes and working spaces. So changing location can really help with your hyperfocus. He even talks about setting up distraction-free mode in office environments. There was one office that had desk lamps, and whenever somebody's desk lamp was on, it meant that they were not to be disturbed and they were in hyperfocus mode. They even had like little water guns they could squirt people if they were distracted. We can't be in hyperfocus mode all of the time, or a distraction-free mode all of the time, but we can set up a reduced distraction-free mode. So this is things like deciding when to check your email throughout the day and only checking it between certain windows. You can also put an out of office on to say you only check your emails between these times, so people know to expect a delayed response from you. Be more deliberate when using your devices. He does talk about maybe having a second device specifically for distractions. So you'd put all of your like social media and entertainment apps on one device and have them not on anything else. It's quite interesting, but feels like a very expensive solution. So phone swap at dinner with a friend, so you're not tempted to keep checking your phone and you can really kind of engage in the conversation. I actually love this one. I think this is ace. So resist the urge to use your phone while in the gaps of your day. So you know what, when you're waiting in line for something, you might be kind of checking your phone. Actually use that time to just kind of reflect on your day, reflect on your focus and where you're at. It will actually be more productive. Put some of your most distracting apps in a mindless folder to make you remember that actually like they're not adding much value. And one of the fun parts of this book was once you have focused, then, you know, have an all-you-can-eat buffet of distractions. So like schedule that time in to let yourself be distracted. Let yourself like scroll social media, watch something on TV, kind of release yourself from that hyper-focus mode. So on points 3 and 4, where it's focus your attention on that intention and then continually draw your attention back to it, he talks a lot about really training your brain and training yourself to focus. It does get better over time. He talks a lot about meditation and how that is actually a proven way of helping your concentration and helping you focus. So when you feel resistance at the start, which you're bound to feel, shrink the hyperfocus time down to something that's kind of more manageable, and just try to get started. Once you get started, even for short periods of time, momentum builds, and then once you get into it, you can keep going. I am honestly so excited by so many of these tips in this hyperfocus section. I think hyperfocus is definitely an area that I need to work on. I can't wait to start putting some of these things into practice. So next up is scatter focus, and scatter focus is where you use the power of mind wandering for creativity, ideation and problem solving. As somebody who is a big daydreamer, I love this concept. I think it's awesome. So done deliberately, scatter focus can help you connect ideas and it can help you problem solve. So there are 3 different types of scatter focus. First is capture mode. This is letting your mind roam freely and capturing whatever comes up. The second is problem crunching mode. So this is keeping a problem loosely in your mind and letting your mind wander around it. So next up is habitual mode, and this is where you're engaging in a habitual task and just letting ideas and plans come to the surface. This is actually supposed to be the most effective form of scatter focus. So I'm particularly excited about scatter focus. I'm a bit of a daydreamer anyway, so any excuse to kind of let my mind wander and be, but also just feeling that that can actually be productive is a really exciting thought for me. I'm really looking forward to putting it into practice and seeing what ideas, insights, problems I can solve by just letting my mind wander. I loved this book. Honestly, these are just some highlights. There was so much more useful information throughout it. I cannot recommend it enough. It's something that I think I'll reread. I already want to put some of the tips into practice, and I'll let you know how I get on as well, because I genuinely think these things are going to help me. Cool. So if you like this book review, please check out my other ones. They'll be in the playlist and I'll link to a few below. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you again soon. Bye.